Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're going to start in about 30 seconds.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Will you all please stand and join me saying the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Taking roll call, and I'd just like to say right away, welcome to our new board members. It's very nice to have you here, and so welcome to your first meeting. Board member Kristen Randall. Board member Greg Taylor.
Here.
Board member Dr. Nicole Barraza. Here. Duh, right? He's on here. And board member Carla Morales.
Present.
Thank you, and I'm here too. Welcome. We're going to say the land acknowledgement statement. We're acknowledging that Pima Community College is on the original homelands of the Tohono O'odham people and the Pascua Yaqui, who have stewarded this land since time immemorial. The practice of acknowledging the land of these sovereign nations brings to the forefront their enduring connections to this land, regardless of historical and current colonization practices. Let's also acknowledge that we all benefit from these lands on which we work and learn. We encourage each of you today to learn about the land we inhabit, the tribal communities connected to this land, and the ways in which you can contribute to restorative practices related to land and community. Thank you. Moving on to our annual meeting action items. The first item is election of the governing board officers, the chair and the vice chair / secretary.
I'd like to make a motion to elect Greg Taylor as the chair of the board of directors.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I would just like to take a moment for a point of information. The job description of the governing board chair, besides running the meetings, this is the tip of the iceberg, but there are numerous other activities. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because there are quite a few other responsibilities of the job. Besides our regular graduation at the end of the semester in May, there are also 3 to 6 other graduation ceremonies that the chair gets invited to. There are numerous meetings, ribbon-cutting ceremonies, activities where the chair is requested to be present. And I counted up how many activities I did, and last year through yesterday, I attended 615 different activities where the board chair was invited. And so I had talked with Greg earlier in the month, and I asked him if he was willing, if he had any reason where he wouldn't be able to support me, and he said he didn't have any reason, but he wanted to be upfront and say that he was also wanting to be the chair. And so there is, I hope that you've considered all of the activities required.
Yeah, I have, and I think it's a good opportunity to say thank you for that. I mean, your leadership over the last 2 years has been great, a time when we were trying to turn the level of discourse around on this board, and I really appreciated your ability to mediate and bring us together. You know, when we had a conversation way back in the beginning about what board leadership might look like, I think even before we were seated, I was saying that I didn't think I was ready at the time. I didn't think like I knew enough about the college or about what this role was going to be. And this last 2 years has been very educational. So whether I can do 615 things over the next 2 years, I don't know, but I'll do my best to be at as many as I possibly can, and maybe there's some other opportunities for other board members to do some of those speaking gigs and some of that stuff too, as we spread things around. But I'm excited for the challenge. I'm excited for the opportunity, and it's something I'm interested in doing. So thank you for the nomination. I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 And so the motion passes for Greg to be chair of the governing board, 4-1, because I am a dissenting vote, but congratulations. Are there any nominations for vice chair?
I'd like to nominate board member Bernal Morales as vice chair.
Any discussion?
I think we need a second.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Any discussion?
Yeah, just to add, while, board member Bernal Morales is new to the board, I've had an opportunity to watch her in the community and in her various leadership roles, and I was excited when she said that she was maybe interested in joining us, and then to see her win her election, and I know she'll be able to bring that leadership and that deep commitment to this community that'll now manifest itself in our students and in this college into that role. So I would welcome the opportunity to be able to serve with her.
Also, thank you to Board Member Taylor. I think it's been a great experience learning from both of you in the last few months and definitely through this process. And I'm looking forward to serving Pima Community College and supporting Board Member Taylor's role as a chair and following in the great steps of a board member, former chair Real. So I'm looking forward for this opportunity and supporting the work that the board does and supporting the work that our chair does as well. Thank you for the opportunity.
Any other comments? Okay, all in favor of Carla Bernal Morales being vice chair, say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. 2.2, the election of the Arizona Association of Community College Trustees representative.
Can you remind me who was doing that? It wasn't me, but who was doing that before?
Wade did it for the first year, and I did it for the second year. So there are usually 2 meetings that you drive up to Phoenix or Flagstaff for a 2-day meeting, and then there are numerous Zoom call meetings, 45 minutes to an hour. When I say numerous, I'm saying maybe 2 a semester.
Would you be interested in continuing that work? I'm happy to nominate you if you'd like to continue to be the representative to ACCT and work with the other colleges.
Yeah, that's fine. Does anybody else want to have that opportunity to learn about all the other community colleges and what they're doing?
There's an alternate to that, right? I would be interested in being the alternate for that.
Okay, then can I move board member or Chair Real be the representative, and then board member Barraza be the alternate?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes unanimously. 2.3, the election of the advisory committee board representatives. The only advisory committee to the board currently is the audit and finance committee, and we need 2 board members to agree to be on that. That meets 4 times every quarter. And that's also a Zoom call on a Friday from 9 to 10:30-ish usually. I was on that committee for the 2 years, and so was Maria Garcia, who's currently in the audience. Thanks for being here, Maria.
May I nominate you and myself as alternate for that?
Is anybody else interested in doing that?
I am, if you want to rotate, but I'm fine if you still want to continue serving there.
You know, they notice it anyway, so, I mean, 2 people are going to be there, and then if one of you can't, I don't mind attending in both of your either of your places.
Would that make you the alternate to the alternate?
Well, 2 people attend every time. So, yeah, I'd be the alternate to whomever needs me.
So amend the motion to Kristen and Nicole?
I second that.
Okay, great. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute recess to move chairs around, and then we will reconvene. Those are in person? On Zoom.
We're going to move on to 4.2 on the agenda, which is our public comment period. So I know I've got a stack of cards over here, folks that want to provide some feedback to us. So thank you for your time today. I'll just remind everybody that this is going to be limited to 45 minutes in total, and the comments will be limited to 3 minutes per individual. So if you're here in person, you'll see the little lights up there that'll indicate your remaining time. So if you could please keep your comments to those 3 minutes. For individuals that are sharing comments, our expectation is that you'll communicate with decorum and respect. Individuals who engage in disorderly conduct or use derisive or insulting language may have their time reduced or concluded by the board chair. At the conclusion of public comment, individual board members may respond to criticism made by those who address the board, ask staff to review a matter, or ask that a matter be placed on a future agenda. Board members, however, may not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during the public comment unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Finally, please be advised that the internal college processes are available to students and employees for communications. So with that being said, I think I had 2 names that originally signed up online, but I think I also have cards. So if you're on Zoom, please speak up, but if you're in the room, you're welcome to come down and use the podium. So the first name on my list here is Hannah Glaston. Please forgive me if I mispronounced your last name. Feel free to correct me.
Thank you. That was perfect pronunciation. I come today to appeal to the new leadership and to reiterate the calls to action to save a part of Tucson's history. As the co-founder and editor of a guide to Tucson's historic neighborhoods, and as a property owner in the 300 block of East Strackman Street in the Feldman's neighborhood, I find it disheartening to learn of any consideration to demolish historic structures on Drackman Street. National news features, the historic Miracle Mile driving tour brochure, among other publications, have helped highlight these recognized areas. Pima Community College has long been a welcome and important partner in the growth and stability of the area. My understanding has been that the college is an economic partner of the Thrive in the 05, an impressive grant-funded initiative to raise up the 85705 area. Reuse of these buildings, to me, reflects the many opportunities for both the college and the neighborhood and fulfills an important part of the initiative's intentions. Pima's commitment to this area and her historic structures is integral to its ongoing success. The first Thrive in the 05 Business Summit was held at the PCC downtown campus and included nearly 40 local business owners and key stakeholders. Your own website notes that you have been involved in revitalization projects in the historic Miracle Mile district for over a decade. That's a quote. Pima Community College purchased these motels in what I thought was the desire to expand campus with a visionary nod to the historic fabric of our city. In what is a profoundly teachable moment, you still have an opportunity to commit to working on keeping an important part of our city's multi-tiered history. At this point, with many community members having addressed this issue over a number of years now, I guess my feeling is that if you don't want to or are unable to come up with some visionary ideas beyond demolition, it is time to sell the property, at a profit hopefully, to people who can and will save the historic face of Drackman Street along your northern border. Please help us save these structures for our city, which everyone acknowledges has a great story to tell and has people who can do it in creative ways. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next is Carlos Lozano.
Thank you, and I wanted to thank you all and welcome the new board members and the new board chair and the new chancellor. And I've been up here before. I've been involved in this since the beginning. I'm speaking of the matter of the Drackman properties and representing the Tucson Pima County Historical Commission. We've written a number of comments in favor of adaptive reuse, and we will follow up with another comment for the new board members. But so in the little time I have, I just wanted to perhaps just take a minute to inspire you again because adaptive reuse is like an exciting opportunity. It's not, somewhere along the line it started to seem like a burden or something that you were being forced to do that you didn't want to do. But there's so many examples in Tucson, wonderful examples of creative, innovative, adaptive reuse. So I just wanted to just go through a couple of them. There's the 1960 Sahara Motel, sort of rejuvenated for student housing. There's the 1904 Pueblo Hotel, transformed into the Avita Institute. There's a 1902 Owls Club, repurposed for the Center for Biological Diversity. There's a 65 Sears building, redeveloped for multi-use commercial. There's the 1938 Monterey Motel, re-envisioned as art studios, galleries, and a cafe. 1950s KY Supermarket, converted into a national marketing agency. This is great. 1931 Corbett Lumber Building, reimagined as pickleball courts and a restaurant. So there's so many different things you can do. 1937 Alamo Apartments, restored for a local 501c3 community development and low-income housing provider. That was featured in the New York Times. 1901 Riley Undertaking Company, Tucson's first mortuary, redesigned as a restaurant. And 1953 American Meat Company, reinvented as a food court with 7 restaurants. So there's so many things you can do. The commission has offered to help and answer any questions and work with you to think of ideas. We could help you start a new RFQ to a wider, more targeted and wider, better scope. There's a bunch of things we can do. So we're excited about new people on the board that might, embrace some of these ideas. There's one other thing. Preservation is more and more the green alternative, and I haven't heard anything or anybody saying anything about the idea that demolishing 3 motels and landfilling that amount of material is unsustainable. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Next on the list is Jude Cook.
Hi there. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk. We talked before, didn't we? I'm with Cook & Company Sign Makers and the Ignite Sign Art Museum here in town. I restored 4 of the 5 signs that are on the Drachman side down there, including the Tucson Inn, which is yet to be lit. That could be such a pull for Tucson. It's a photo opportunity. There's people that come into town from all over the country just for our neon signs. And I thank you for keeping the neon signs. But when you take the neon sign and tear down the building that it's associated with, you just lost it. You just don't have the same thing. There's value in that, and I want you to understand how I feel about it. I would like to see the demolition of the 3 hotels reconsidered. Let's see if I can get through my chicken scratches here. This is the only somewhat impolite thing I'm going to say. I think it's wrong for a community college to tear down historic structures in the community. I'm asking you to think creatively. And one of the possible scenarios that I feel would be worth considering is to use the programs that Pima College is actually teaching people to do, the trades, construction, painting, drywall, electrical, plumbing. It would take time. You would have to have a management company to supervise it, but you've got the trades there to do 90% of the work. Think about that. That could be a boon for the people that are doing the work, and it would be, I think, an award-winning possible scenario for this. Let me keep going. If not that, seriously reconsider the proposal that was given to you back in November. From what I gather, I talked to the architects that were involved. It didn't get what I would consider a serious consideration, and I ask you to think about that. If nothing else, sell the properties and do what needs to be done to save these motels. I thank you.
Thank you. Next is Ken Scoville.
was going to say Madam Chair, but Chair Taylor now, members of the board, Chancellor Nasser. My name is Ken Scoville. I've been involved in historic preservation issues in Tucson. This year's my 40th year. I'm a retired teacher, and people might say, well, how'd you do that and that? I always took an 80% contract, so I'd have time to go out and participate in community things. And I'm here obviously tonight about the motor lodges and this ongoing issue that's terribly painful, troubling to me and for the rest of the preservation community. And just a little bit of background, especially for the new people. Oh, I guess it's been 12 years ago, I was on the City of Tucson Oracle Road Advisory Group. And we did a lot of issues and organizations and economic incentives. And one of my biggest projects was spending 3 years getting the restoration of Ghost Ranch Lodge to being a nationally recognized landmark building. So if any of you are interested in a short tour of Ghost Ranch Lodge and what a beautiful and wonderful place it is, I'm certainly available for that. I was also appointed when the college originally set up a community advisory group to look at issues and things related to this, and I participated in all of those. And I was always an advocate for preservation, that we didn't be, I probably should, everybody hear me, I wasn't on mic, it's good, I'm sorry. Just thinking about my passion on this. So I've always been an advocate, like I said, for preservation and on the community-based group that the college set up. And I was obviously in the minority view of this. It was a little bit set, I would have hoped it had been a little bit more balanced as the way it was conducted. And so I want to think about this in a much bigger position. I think the best thing the college could do right now is do an official pause. And what we've always been looking, what I've been looking for from the start, was a community-based solution, something that we all felt good about. And there was, Jude referenced this, the proposal from the architect, and the one that I always thought sounded the best for the college and everything else, given the circumstances, that an adaptive reuse for affordable housing for some of the units, the Tucson inside portion, the back portion would be demolished for more units. And then it's always been in the hopper that there would be a health clinic venue that would be supporting the community, especially the Tucson house, so it would be walkable, and an affordable food venue, maybe something from the food bank or whatever. And those would be both beneficial for the students, because going to school today, and I know I always worked in hotels going to school and graduate school, but those services would be great for them. And then I think there's a reflection from the HUD program really asked that and has supported that with the signs. And in closing, I wanted to say I'm advocating for a pause by the college so that we could reconvene that community group and other people and say that maybe there's a buyer for the property so you could cash out of them. And if you find a buyer, that we would like it to be landmarked so that those buildings would be protected, whoever you sell. But there's a wonderful solution out there if we pause and just work a little bit more for it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ken, and thank you for your service on that advisory committee too. We really appreciate it. Next, Michaela Hayes.
Hello. So in light of the conversation, I'm doing this later. I kind of feel like I need to speak to the Drockman properties based off the things I'm hearing right now in defense of our prior board and our committee that worked super hard to try to come up with the solutions that is being presented to you now. So first of all, Michaela Hayes, math faculty here at Pima Community College and our faculty union president. Those buildings were condemned when we purchased them, and we purchased them a number of years ago. They've continued to deteriorate. We've done multiple studies on them. They have not been feasible to do anything with, and we are wasting taxpayer dollars the longer we wait. So a pause at this point is really a detriment to our students. And I can't help but advocate right now for our students, and that is the one thing I'm not hearing in this conversation with the Historic Society. I think as faculty, if there was anything we could do to preserve that history for our students and serve our students, we would. But in the investigation with the community group and everything else, none of those solutions came to light. We have a taxpayer priority to serve our students. If we redo these buildings in any way other than what was researched and demolish them and put something in their place for our students, we're not being good stewards of our taxpayer money. Selling it back doesn't help our students either, because those buildings are still sitting there in our students' way and not safe. We are spending money patrolling with our resources. It's on our campus, whether we really want it to be or not. It's attached. So if there are people living in there that shouldn't be, they are directly next to our students. So that's not a student interest. Also, the state has come and take our funding. They have not funded us. We are three-legged stool of state funding, and property taxes and tuition are solidly on tuition and property taxes right now. We can't afford to waste money on this any longer with our students. So as much as I think all of us support the idea of adaptive reuse and all of these things, the board has already voted, and I would ask that you don't delay any longer and do continue on with the service to our students that we have to do. And I just felt like we needed a student voice in this. Like, our students deserve a safe downtown campus. We've done what we can do. We've researched what we can do, and maybe there's some ways we can honor the buildings that were there with pictures or gallery pictures in the lobby in those places or something to honor the history they used to have. But I just wanted to remind everybody they were already condemned before we had them. So thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list, and please correct me if I mispronounce your last name, but Kathy Kubish? You got it perfectly. All right.
Hi, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I am not a polished speaker, and I probably won't take all 3 minutes. I'm a Tucson native, and I am very invested in Tucson's history. Tucson has a terrible record of tearing down our past. You know, urban renewal is a well-known fact, and there's so much more that has been destroyed. These properties, I would like to see you sell them. Don't spend $500,000, that's the figure I've heard of, to demolish them. Don't, perhaps, although I think Jude had a good idea of renovating them with the people you have as students, perhaps you can sell them below market if necessary to someone who will commit to keeping their historic nature. The signs have been beautifully redone by Jude Cook, but these are pieces of Tucson's history, and we've already lost so much. So I'd like you to just reconsider demolishing them and giving them to somebody who will take care of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is former board member Garcia. Welcome back.
First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody that's here. Congratulations to the new board members, Dr. Nassi, Chairman now, Greg. Okay, so first of all, I want to start with supporting the removal of the Drachman Properties building is a sensitive issue. But here are 3 reasons why Pima Community College must move forward with this board, with a board decision. The reason focuses on balance, practicality, and the broader benefits of upholding the mission of the community college. And its express reason for existing, educating students. Safety, Safety and structural integrity, number 1. Some historic buildings may no longer meet modern safety codes or may be structurally unsound. In cases where preservation would require extensive resources, demolition may be necessary to ensure public safety and prevent potential harm. The security and police presence at these sites expends quite a bit of energy and money each month. Number 2, economic visibility. Demolition will allow for the construction of new buildings that better meet current needs such as affordable housing, commercial spaces, or other infrastructure critical for Pima's educational activities. To spend college resources, which come from taxpayers and students, tuition dollars intended for educational expenses, seems unethical. Community needs, number 3, community needs and urban renewal. Urban areas evolve, and re-imaging a better use of the properties gives an opportunity for revitalization. Replacing outdated structures with new development can create jobs, attract investment, and better align with evolving needs of PCC student population and the community. Surrounding the downtown campus, such as a daycare center, healthcare facilities, or mixed-use spaces. The decisions that we made before as board members to demolish these buildings, we've done everything. We've went out for RFPs. We've got a community engaged to discuss this issue. Selling the properties is not viable because this is Pima Community College's property, and therefore it is for student needs. So as new board members, I'm asking you, begging you, please reconsider your duty. Your duty is to make sure that the taxpayer and the students are being served in the best interest of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Next on our list, Richard Hernandez.
Buenas noches. Pima College Board of Governors, class of 2025. New and old, everybody combined. Welcome. My name is Richard Hernandez. We Hernandi are very well known in southern Arizona, especially on the south side and in the Sunnyside community where I reside. The Hernandezes have members in the House of Representatives, et cetera, et cetera. But I am here today to tell you a lot of great things happen at Pima every day. So far, everybody that's spoken has forgotten why we're here. We got some kids in these black uniforms. Can you look? People, let's give them a round of applause. This is Pima College today. This is history being made. That's why you're here. That's why you are here. This kind of stuff drives me crazy, but I don't want to speak to that just yet. I want to ask you to take time to reconsider why Pima College is in existence. Do you know? I'm almost 70, I know. In 1969, they did not want locals, U of A did not want locals or Hispanics to attend the University of Arizona. That was the reason people worked to create Pima College. And you need to know that as board members. That's why you were put here. Your job is to look after students. Stop raising their tuition. It's happened almost every year. Stop raising our taxes without our permission. If you really care about this community, let's refocus and let's worry about our students. Now I want to address these folks here today. Let me make sure that this board understands not one person from my district and the city of Tucson, which is Ward 5, was invited to be part of that committee. Not one of us. No one from the Sunnyside community was invited to be part of that study they did. So far, it's been around $6 million. Let me ask you what $6 million could do in the classroom. What it could do for our great coaches, our faculty, our staff. Give them a little more money. That's what $6 million could do. A judge has given you permission to demolish that eyesore. I'm old enough to tell you that I partied at the Tucson Inn back in the 70s when most of these folks here were not even residents or weren't born yet. Let's move forward. Let's not go backwards. Let us refocus everything. You need to ask yourself this with every time you vote. How does this help our students? If it does not help our students, then you need to get rid of it. And for my community members out here, I said this to you a year ago. If you want it, buy it at a profit. Don't sell it for cheap. Make a profit. Because that money goes to our students. Welcome, Pima College, class of 2025.
Thank you. All right. Former board member McLean.
Hello. Congratulations to the new board members. Congratulations, Chair Taylor. Be careful what you ask for. Good evening, governing board members, Chair Taylor, Chancellor Nasi. Be careful what you ask for, too. I've told you that before. I came tonight to make a few comments and was motivated by the article in the newspaper this morning. And I remind you of one thing. Our mission at Pima Community College is empower every learner every day for every goal. The original purchase was in 2018, 2019, $2.3 million. Nobody here was involved in that decision. You don't have to honor that decision. You can change that decision. And I wonder how many times we've increased tuition and raised property taxes to recoup that $2.3 million. I was on the board for 2 years, and we did raise taxes and raise tuition. If we'd have had that $2.3 million, maybe we wouldn't have had to raise tuition one of those years. And who knows, maybe we would have had a few more students attend the college. The previous board made a decision and gathered extensive community input, followed the recommendation of the committee. We received the recommendation. It was not viable. So therefore, a different decision had to be made. Maintaining and allocating additional funds will be and should be a difficult decision because you must ask yourself, how will the expenditure improve the future of our students? You'll soon be deciding on increased tuition and increased property taxes. The staff will come to you and say, we need this much money for this thing, we need this much money for this thing, and the way we can generate that money is to raise tuition and raise taxes. I would recommend we spend a little bit, the most minimal amount you can, to take care of this problem. Don't forget that we empower every learner every day and every goal, and that should be the foundation of every decision you make for the college. I want to wish you good luck, and thank you for your commitment to the district and the community college. And you're in a good place, and I know you'll make it better. Good night.
Thank you. That was the last of the public comment registration cards. Just want to make sure that nobody else in the room submitted one and it didn't make it to me for some reason. No? All right. So we will move on to section 4.4, summary of current events by governing board members. Maybe we'll start at the end. Board member. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped over that. Thank you. You know, I'm new at this. So let's, yes, sorry, Marcy. 4.3, Pima Community College Foundation update.
Thank you. All right, well, good evening, Chair Taylor. Congratulations, Vice Chair Bernal Morales, governing board members, Chancellor Nasi, colleagues and guests. First of all, my apologies for no slides this month. I totally missed the deadline, so you just have to listen to me, I'm afraid. And I also want to, on a more somber note, offer my heartfelt prayers for the people in LA. What they are going through is truly terrifying, and I am very thankful that we are not dealing with that. And many of us, I know, have friends and relatives there. So As many of you know, Pima Foundation is the philanthropic arm for Pima Community College. We support the students, programs, and faculty that are important to the region as well as to the institution. So I want to give you a quick review of what we accomplished in 2024 and a preview of what we are looking to do for 2025. So in March, we had about 75 visitors from community colleges across the country at the National Association for Community College Entrepreneurship attend a summit at downtown campus, and they were blown away by the amazing facilities and continue to be a strong partner with a number of different projects that we do. We held a renovation celebration for the Building and Construction Technology project before the project was undertaken so that we could bring industry partners to the campus to see the before, the 2,500 square feet that existed for BCT originally, and envision what the 25,000 square foot renovation would be so that they would understand how positively this project would impact them as industry leaders and taking that 10 times expansion to a state-of-the-art facility that will benefit everyone in our region. We engaged the foundation board, our college colleagues, students, and community members in developing a strategic plan for the foundation that we are implementing now. We filled our team. We have 8 employees at this point, and we have a true philanthropy department. We also increased the number of students receiving donor-funded scholarships. There were 659 students awarded, and we gave out over $530,000 in scholarship monies. That's about $150,000+ more than the prior year. And this is due to the engagement that we have with more donors who are recognizing the important work that the college does, as well as that are trusting the work that my team does. That is spoken to by virtue of the positive year we had in fiscal year 24 with over $3.4 million raised in contributions. We started a blog and a podcast and branded our weekly e-blast that reflects our involvement across the college and the community. We helped to welcome the Chancellor and his family to PCC and to Tucson. This one is for you, Dr. B. We had a clean, on-time audit, even early this year. We partnered with El Tour to do fundraising, and we concluded the Hellman Challenge Match on November 30th. We raised $6 of the $10 million we were challenged to do. So we had a little ways to go. But the good news is our challenge has been extended. So they've given us an additional time frame to raise the additional just under $4 million, which is a 50% match on new money that comes to the institution. So we are excited about the opportunity to do that. We are also working on creating a process for donors to give via charitable gift annuities. That is something we have not previously done, but is a vehicle and a tool that could be very attractive to some high net worth donors. And we have our first individual who's interested in supporting us in that manner. They were a PCC welding student early on in PCC's tenure, and they are selling their business and want to give back substantially to the college because of that experience. And so I'll keep you posted as that transpires. We were also able to get our license plate legislation passed with a lot of work by a lot of different people, and we're working on the final design for submission to the Arizona Department of Transportation. So 2024 was a busy year. That wasn't all we did, but those were some of the highlights. For 2025, we have a kickoff meeting with our foundation board. We've invited PCC administrators. The governing board has been invited, and we will be doing that meeting on January 28th, and I'll probably have slides for that one. We are assisting with the ribbon cuttings for the Health Professions Center of Excellence on January 24th, alongside the college, and we look forward to being able to do a similar ribbon ribbon cutting with hospitality leadership in the future. We're scheduling a donor reception, a thank you activity in late March. We are also reestablishing some student and donor networking kinds of events where donors who give scholarships and students who receive them can come together. And we're doing 2 pilot projects, one at West Campus for health professions and arts students, and one at downtown campus for those students who are in the applied technology areas. So we're excited about 2025, and we appreciate all that you do and all that you all do to help advocate for Pima College as well as Pima Foundation. So thank you for your time. Again, I apologize for no slides. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer, or we can move on. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. All right, now 4.4. Summary of current events by governing board members. Maybe we just go down the line. If you want to pass, you're welcome to pass, but maybe start with Board Member Randall and then go down the line from there. Do you have any remarks you want to share? No? All right. Board Member Barraza.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to share that I feel extremely privileged to be able to sit here today in representing District 1 on this board. I've been watching and coming to the meetings for the past at least 2 years. I used to teach part-time. I was an adjunct faculty, so I'm happy to be able to continue working with the college in furthering its mission. I think the college does an incredible job for the community and is an economic engine for our region. And for those reasons, I'm very eager and excited about working with my new board colleagues, Chancellor Nassy, staff, faculty, students, and the community to continue to help propel the college forward. We were sworn in on December 13th, and it was a beautiful opportunity to meet each other's families. And we had an all-day orientation on the following day, which I think was a great opportunity for us to start working together and get to know each other more, and so that we can work well together. I'm looking forward to the great work that is ahead of us. Education transforms lives. It has transformed mine, and I'm committed to helping that be the case for our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Barraza. Board Member Rial.
Thank you. Excuse me. The only thing that's really been taking a lot of our time, my time recently, has been the current litigation process on the Drockman properties. And I just want to go on record saying that the amount of money that we're spending on litigation and lawyers could be going toward educating our students. A lot of the information that has been presented is slightly skewed in the lawsuit. Just to be straightforward, there's a comment that the governing board for the last 7 years has allowed these properties to be damaged and vandalized. And the governing board that was being sued had only been in office for 2 years. And so, there's a lot of things that are getting blamed on the governing board that made that motion and that vote in November. But I can honestly say that every single member who voted in favor of removing the buildings from the properties were doing it in the best interest of students, and not because we have any desire to remove beauty or majesty from the city of Tucson. The city of Tucson is a great place, but so is Pima Community College, and we need to focus on our mission here, which is to educate students and to move the educational process forward. So hopefully we don't spend lots of money on this litigation. Hopefully we can resolve this quickly and move forward. So thank you.
All right. Vice Chair Bernal Morales.
I'd like to take this moment to officially thank Chair Emeritus Rael for her work. I think she's done an amazing job, and I want to say thank you from all of our community members. I also wanted to echo to Board Member Barraza's sentiment. I think this is a great privilege But it's also a great responsibility, and it's a responsibility that we have to our community, to our faculty, to our staff, to our students. And so I want to make sure that I echo the sentiments and say thank you for the trust and thank you for allowing us to have this privilege, along with the responsibility to serve our students and to represent, to be their voice and their face for the rest of the community during these board meetings and speak for them. So thank you so much. And again, thank you, Chair Emeritus Riel, for your work. And I look forward to working with you, Chairman.
Thank you. And just echo the welcome that Teresa had earlier for all of our new board members. I'm very much looking forward to the next years that we can serve together and work in the best interest of this college. And thank you so much for the work that you have put in so far. It's not easy to run for an elected office. It takes time, and it takes money, and it takes commitment, and you take time away from your family and everything else. And it certainly takes time to be on this board, and I think it's always worth reminding those that watch us that all of us are volunteers. None of us are paid to be up here, so we're volunteering our time. We're doing it because we believe in the mission of this college of empowering every learner every day for every goal in serving our students. And we recognize the importance of Pima Community College in this community, and we want to make sure that we're continuing to steward it in a way that achieves the student outcomes that we want to be able to achieve. So I'm excited to see what these next few years will hold. I'm also excited because I think what you see up here is an incredible diversity of perspective and life experience that will make the institution stronger and this board stronger. And so, this will inherently be different than the other board. These are different folks from different walks of life. And maybe there's going to be some parts that are better, hopefully some parts that are better, maybe there are some parts that aren't, but we're going to figure out how to get through this together, not only with us as a group, but with Chancellor Nassy and with our faculty and staff and administrators, so that we can achieve the goals and give the students the education that they deserve. So I appreciate your faith in me to serve as chair for these next 2 years. I will make this commitment now that I'm only doing this for 2 years. So I think one of the values of that diversity that you see up here will be best served by rotating board leadership so that all of us and all those diverse perspectives and all of those life experiences that we bring forward have a chance to be in a leadership position of this board. So I'm excited to do it for 2 years, don't get me wrong, but I'm not doing it for more than 2 years. So whoever wants to do it next as you gear up for that, I look forward to being able to hand this gavel to someone else in 2 years that'll lead us forward. I'll still be here, but I just won't be chair. But thank you for your faith in me. And that's it for me. So I think with that, we'll move on to section 4.5, which is Pima's mission moment. Athletic Director Hakame, sorry if is that right? All right, I thought that's what it was. We'll do some introductions for our soccer team.
Yes, good evening, Board Chair Taylor, members of the board, Chancellor Nassy. My name is Ken Hakame. I'm the Director of Athletics, and I'm up here tonight to recognize our men's soccer team and especially the coaching staff. Our coaching staff was given an award. They were National Junior College Athletic Association West Coast Coaches of the Year, Coaching Staff of the Year. It's a great award. They coached an unbelievable team, which I had the privilege of going out and watching a lot of their games as we went to the national tournament. They were 21-1-1 this year, which is unbelievable. It's an unbelievable soccer season. They lost in the semifinals against a team that ended up winning the national championship. So I want to recognize them. Not all of them are here today, but we do have a good amount, and we do have one student athlete I would like to bring up here and talk to you about his experience as a student athlete from Tucson and what he's done here at Pima College. So, DeAndre, could you come up here and speak for a second? Thank you.
Hello, so my name is DeAndre Pickett. I've had the opportunity to be an athlete and a student here the past 2 years under Coach Cosgrove. And I've known Coach Cosgrove for the past 4 years, so I was still in high school, and he was helping me with my college process, getting recruited. And of course, he's the coach at Pima, so he's always gonna advocate for them. And for my parents and myself coming out of high school, we were looking for a program that meets my sports needs with soccer and then my academic needs as well. And I made the decision to commit here and use Pima as a stepping stone because you only get 2 years of athletic eligibility to play at Pima. So me and Coach Cosgrove had that talk with my parents, and we knew that the stepping stone of Pima, we knew it would have to be from the people you surround yourself with, because I recently committed to play and continue my athletic and academic process at the University of California, Berkeley. And going there, I've had the opportunity also to visit other Division I institutions, and the question I always asked myself was, which one really was the closest to Pima? Because it's exactly what I wanted with everything. The people that I had met had shaped me into the person I am today, the person you guys are talking to right now. And just making that decision was pretty easy because I've been a Tucson native the entire time, and I don't think I was ready to leave 2 years ago, but I leave in a week now, and I can stand here and say that I'm ready to leave after the 2 years that Pima has given me, building me into the man I am today, and giving me the opportunity to meet some of my teammates that you guys see in the crowd that hopefully I'll have that friendship forever. So I just wanted to thank everyone that I've had the experience. And I know this is probably like the first and last time you guys will ever see me, but I just wanted to thank you guys. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, DeAndre. We wish you the best of luck, and congratulations to you and all your teammates. Thank you for your work on the field and off the field. We really appreciate you choosing Pima and being part of this institution, and we look forward to many, many more years of success in the soccer program. So thank you for everything you're doing. All right, we will move on to section 5.1.
Point of interest real
Yes,
quick.
go ahead.
Is there a way we could have the players and the coaches come down here and take a picture with the governing board and the chancellor? Do we have time to do that real quick? Do we have a camera handy?
Yeah.
Everybody has a camera, right?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for indulging us. We appreciate it. Okay, so moving on to section 5.1, administration reports. The first is with Dr. Dave B.
Good evening, Chairperson, Taylor, members of the board, Chancellor Nassy, colleagues and guests. It's my pleasure tonight to give you a quick overview of the college's financial report for fiscal year 2024. The financial report was published in December following the audit and review by the State Auditor General's Office. In sum, the college finished the year, let me shoot ahead, finished the year with expenses of $246 million versus revenues of $237 million. As we continue to invest in one-time capital projects, namely the remainder of the Allied Health Building. And I'll talk a little bit more as we go into the details. To get into some of the details, talk specifically about the revenue outlook or the revenue the revenue results. As mentioned, the total was $237 million. It was an increase of about $18 million year over year from the prior year. The increases came from contract revenue that in the form of sort of pass-throughs from the state, mostly for dual enrollment support, for nursing support, Santa Cruz contract, and a couple of other miscellaneous contracts are what resulted in the increase there. You see in contracts, state appropriations went up slightly. That was because of one-time STEM funding, so that's not an ongoing expectation that that's going to continue that trend. And then federal grants were up a little bit, and then lastly, investment earnings. That also, as we've talked with the board in the fall, we were talking about, so what revenues are going to be ongoing? Those are the ones you can rely on for operational expenses. Which ones will fall away? So one of the downsides is, so STEM funding will be probably going down. Well, it's gone down this year, so it's gone down. It will be down from that level. Investment earnings is another one. That's because the amount of money that we have to invest is going down because we're spending the money on capital projects. And then investment earnings are lower for fixed instruments. So as interest rates go down, good for the college in some other ways, bad for our investments because those are directly tied to what kind of earnings we get. Anyway, there's a big increase, though, year over year. So that's a positive story of $18 million from fiscal year 23. On the expenditure side, there was an increase, slightly smaller increase, so that's good. Slightly better performance in terms of the revenues went up a little bit more than the expenses went up, although the expenses also went up quite a bit. Highlighting where that's at, it's sort of distributed throughout the different categories. These are sort of, and we're going to talk with the new board members about how the college and university fund accounting works. Sorry. I'm apologizing in advance. We'll have that conversation. But these are the standard categories in terms of how programs are set up in terms of accounting at colleges and universities. So you see it's sort of a distribution throughout that of where the expense increases are. Largely that's because of compensation and benefits related increases. About half of it is actually tied to pension liability expenses. So there are things that we don't totally have control of. It's based on the actuarials that we get from the state pension program. Those can go up and down each year. So about half of the expense increases were related to fringe benefits, and it's related to the pension liability. The other expense increases were largely related to planned and expected compensation increases. As we implemented again, we updated the class comp study last year. We did some changes to that, and then we gave minimum increases to employees. So those are what largely the expenses were tied to in terms of the year-over-year differences. Now, when we look at what's called natural categories, this tells you sort of what those things were spent on. This is what I was talking about. The large majority of the expense increases were in compensation, and as I mentioned, about half of that was related to the pension liability increases. Okay, looking at the total bottom line here, this is the sort of the profit and loss for those who come from sort of more of a businessy mindset. This is sort of our P&L statement. The increase or decrease in net position, that is year over year. Did we add to our reserves? Did we add to the money that we have on hand, or did we have a negative performance? So because we were planning to spend down reserves, this has been planned and in place for a number of years, putting college reserves into one-time capital expenditures, again, mostly at this point related to the Allied Health expansion, that the performance is negative. That's something that we're going to continue to watch, because while it's okay to spend your reserves one time for one-time projects. You don't want to get into the habit of operationally getting stuck into an operational deficit. So when we talk about the budget, we'll talk more and more about that and making sure, how do we make sure that that's the case? How do we tie ongoing operational revenues to ongoing operational expenses? Lastly, this is the overarching, this is sort of the one-time shot that you look at, and where does the college look as a total as a whole? What this shows is what kind of money that you have in terms of cash on hand, how much you have in investments. You can see that there's a negative result year over year for the top three. That would normally be something that would be concerning, but again, that is related to the fact that it's been a plan to spend down some of the reserves for these one-time capital investments. And then where you can see, I mentioned this is the added expense that's related to the pension liability. Here, this is how much we have outstanding in actual long-term debt. So those are our revenue bonds from a number of years ago. So we paid off about $2.7 million of that. We have about $48 million remaining on those revenue bonds. We'll be talking with the board more about that and how that plays out over time. And then going down here at the bottom, what you see is there's a pretty big increase in the amount invested in capital assets. So as we're spending down our reserve balance, we're investing in buildings, and then we capitalize, and then that shows up in the net position in terms of the value of our capital assets. This is probably the most important piece of information of the chart, and something we'll talk about on an ongoing basis as we develop the budget, as we look at how the performance is of the college. This is the new college's financial stability policy. So what it's intended to do is say the college should always have a healthy reserve on hand. And that's translated into days of cash on hand. If you've paid attention to the university, they also have a similar measure. They're in a lot worse shape in terms of this measure than we are. We have a pretty conservative threshold range that ranges from 180 days of cash on hand to 270. If it falls below the 180 days, we need to develop a plan for how to build that back up. If it's above the 270, the idea is let's think about how we can spend that down, how we can invest in these one-time projects. So as you can see, we've been spending down our surplus reserves. We're now within the threshold. It's going to continue to go down another year and probably maybe 2 years, but should stay within that threshold range, and we'll be keeping the board informed about that. Anyway, to do the total summary of this, I will also add in the financial report, which has a whole lot of information that I'm not even touching on. It gives you historical, longitudinal information about both revenues, expenses, as well as enrollment, historical information about staff size, all of those kinds of things. So there's a lot of good information in that annual financial report to just get an understanding of how the college works. In addition to that, the actual Auditor General's Office opinion is in there, which is what's called an unmodified opinion. That's a good result. That's exactly what you want. What it's saying is that for all intents and purposes, for in any material way, that our financial statements are accurate. That's essentially, and that's what the audit does. The audit tests different things, it goes through and basically validates that our financial statements are accurate for all intents and purposes. And then I've talked, there's just a couple of highlights. Overall, the college continues to be in a strong financial position. Year over year, we are spending down a little bit of our reserves, and that's something that we know we have been planning to do, and we have to continue to monitor that we don't get into the habit of doing that. So with that, I'll ask, let me say, there's a lot of work that goes into the annual financial report and in the audit. The audit actually starts before the end of the fiscal year, so the auditors are working with staff starting in the April timeframe all the way through December, and then there's some additional work that goes into the federal programs. That audit is continuing, and there's going to be more information. That the Auditor General's Office will meet with the board. They'll come to one of these meetings. They also meet with the Finance and Audit Committee and have a more intensive conversation with that group. I want to also thank my staff for all the work they do. There's a boatload of work that goes into putting these financial statements together. We're very proud of the work that we do. And it speaks to how well the college thinks about stewardship of public funds and making sure that people understand and are aware of how the college is spending money, what we're spending the money on, and we do it responsibly. So with that, I'll ask if the board has any questions.
Any questions?
It's not a question. I just wanted to say kudos to you and your team. I know that the college has won several national awards due to this report, and it's very thorough and very helpful, so thank you.
Thank you.
Also not a question, but I look forward to working with you guys on I guess, one of the people on the Finance and Audit Committee.
Yes.
So
Yes, you'll get to have even more conversations.
I'm excited. Thank you.
Great. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. B. Next is Phil Burdick.
Thank you. My name is Phil Burdick. I'm the Vice Chancellor for External Relations for the college, and I'm pleased to be one of the first to give you an administrative report for the new board. I'm going to be talking about Chancellor Goal 3, which is improving communication at the college. It's the third of 3 short-term goals for the Chancellor. First was getting us through the reaccreditation process with the Higher Learning Commission. Second was improving enrollment and retention. The third is improving communication, both internally and externally. So the first thing that Chancellor Nassy did when he got here is hit the road, both internally and externally, and he started a 3-month listening, learning, and leading tour. He did a lot of events. I know that because I was on a lot of them with him. It was really 3 to 4 events a day, a lot of talking with people, interacting with people, a lot of listening. We counted it all. It's over 3,000 people that he met in 100 days. You know, and I will tell you from being there that people really appreciated it. They told him that, they told me that, how much they appreciated the effort of the college to reach out. Some groups have never really been reached out like that before. And I think they felt that they were heard, that he came to listen and not dictate, and that was really important. So now that the listening tour is over, we're working on consolidating all of the comments that are there. We're going to put it into a report that will be both printed and online, and a good summary of the comments that were made, you know, kind of distilling some of the common themes. And there were some common themes that you're going to be hearing about. And making sure that we close the loop on the conversation, that people can see that their comments and that their input and that their thoughts were being heard by the Chancellor and the college as a whole. In addition to the listening tour, we're also working to form stakeholder groups inside the college to better inform the Chancellor and leadership about issues within the college. We have those groups already, but there were definitely some gaps that we see. And so we're going to work on forming new groups and using current groups to kind of fill in where those communication gaps are throughout the college. And then finally, and I think Dave B. alluded to it, expanding communication with you, the governing board, is also another goal of the Chancellor. So that probably means more study sessions, and earlier budget development, more budget presentations. And as the 3 of you will be going through, new board member orientation. And I will tell you, being relatively new to the college, I've been here for 3 years now, learning the college and the lingo, and I think Teresa can tell you, Greg can tell you, as when they came on the board, it's a lot. It's a lot. And so, you know, we'll fly through things a lot, and I think both Teresa and Greg did a great job of stopping us, making sure we explain all the acronyms and things that we know because we've been here for a while that you may not understand. And so, you know, I wish you the best as you take in this fire hose of information, but know that the Chancellor's goal and the goal that he's charged us with is making sure you're fully informed about what the college is doing, why we're doing it, and using metrics and numbers, as well as the other evidence that we'll present before you in our presentations to you. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about Chancellor Goal 3 communication.
Any questions or comments?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Phil. All right, we do not have a report tonight from the All-Employee Representative Council, so we'll skip 5.2. Moving on to 5.3, our former student representative to the board resigned. There's been a new student representative selected, but they won't be with us until February, so we don't have a student report tonight. So we will move on to our faculty report with Rita Lennon.
Good evening. Congratulations, Greg Taylor. It's new chairperson, sorry. Members of the board, both new and old, and Chancellor Nassy and guests. My name is Rita Lennon, and I'm here for the faculty Senate representative. And faculty reps, we don't regularly provide a report in January, but we wanted to be here to extend a very warm welcome to our new members and just hope that your time with us so far has been welcoming and that it'll continue to be so. As Phil mentioned, we do have our own language here at Pima, and so my report will also have a glossary of terms where I spell out like what our abbreviations are and how we are defining things here at Pima. As you can imagine, faculty are very busy getting our classes ready. We're not actually back on contract until the 13th. However, we tend to work a little early to get things ready. I'm also a member of the Center of Excellence for Health Professions. I teach clinical research classes here at Pima, and our team has been very busy moving into our new beautiful spaces. So we're very excited to show you our spaces in January on the 24th. So as Dave B. was giving his report, he mentioned that we are Allied Health, and we have had lots of different changes of our name. In the past, we've been Health Sciences, Health Professions, Allied Health. We have landed on the Center of Excellence for Health Professions. That's how we're going to refer to ourselves. So hopefully we'll start to see some signage and change in all of our websites and whatnot about the update for that. Also, last semester, it was stated that the board would like to just read our reports and then ask questions. So I don't think you have questions for me now, but our reports are submitted at least a week before the board meeting. So if you do have any questions, I'll have time to answer questions about that. And I'd also like to invite you to our meetings. They are the first Friday of every month while school's in session, I should say. We don't generally meet in January on the first week, I should say, but we do have a meeting in February. So that'll be our first meeting. Let's see. It's a very important, so we're one of the largest employee groups here at Pima, and it's important to hear what we're talking about, what we're concerned about, what we're excited about, what we're working on, all those good things. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to come and hear about that. Part of the Senate responsibility is to bring concerns forward to our administration. And so in an effort to improve communication, as our Chancellor is also working on, I wanted to remind everyone that it's about listening. A lot of times, faculty are in front of students on a daily basis. So we hear what they're excited about, what they might be having concerns about, what their challenges are. So it's good for us to be able to bring these forward to administration and to work collaboratively on those things as far as shared governance goes. So with that, I conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? No? All right, we'll move on to the administrator report from Jim Craig.
Chairperson Taylor, distinguished board, Chancellor Nassy, PCC family, and friends. My name is Jim Craig. I'm the Dean of Business, IT, and Hospitality Leadership. Welcome to the new board members. So happy to have you on board. December was really focused on our Higher Learning Commission efforts, preparation, assurance argument submittals, and of course, the actual visit. It was an amazing visit because the turnout for the open sessions was extraordinary. We packed the room with Pima employees, and they made note of that often. And at the end of the day, we're waiting for the report to get back. It'll take some time, but the result of that visit and all the preparation, we really are moving forward with great confidence that we have a quality organization, that we're committed to student success and continuous improvement. And we think that we showed that very well. As mentioned, the Center of Excellence for Health Professions is opening for students this month, so we're excited about that. And of course, a ribbon cutting later on in the month. The technology that you're going to see there is amazing. It's state of the art. I think you're all going to be incredibly impressed with it. So we're looking forward to that. Pima Arts finished the year incredibly well, like they always do, including performances from our mariachi ensemble and the orchestra, band, guitar ensemble, percussion, and jazz ensemble. So look forward to more great events from Pima Arts this spring. And finally, the All College Council, the ACC, met on December 16th. Among other things that we talked about, the ACC wanted to decide what to focus on in the spring semester in helping the Chancellor with his goals. And we thought that focusing on that communication goal was important, and especially with students. So if the Chancellor's open to it and agrees to it, the ACC members will start taking a look at that particular part of communication and take that all that data and all that feedback that the Chancellor has gathered in the 100-day process, and then take it at a different level where students are now surveying students and staff are now talking to staff, and some of that follow-up in terms of the communication feedback that the Chancellor's already gotten. So that's going to be our recommendation moving forward, pending the Chancellor's approval to help improve communication with students. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
I have a real quick question, and it's not just to Jim Craig, but maybe to everybody at the college. I noticed that your student representative at the ACC is the same student representative to our governing board. And I know that oftentimes, there is like a handful of 8 faculty, and you all know who they are, that do all of this extra work at the college. And I oftentimes worry about them because I don't want them to get overloaded or not be able to work efficiently and happily and joyfully. But I would like to make a comment that I think that we need to be really conscientious about when we ask students to be on more than one of our committees, maybe, because our employees are being paid maybe for some of these activities, but the students aren't. And I really think that a student's primary job is to learn and to grow and to live. And I think if we overload them on committees, we might be overdoing it for some of them. So I would just hope the administrators and the faculty in the room would hear my I'm mothering, I'm sure, those people. I'm sure they're saying, I can do it, but I think we should just be aware. Thank you.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? No? All right, then we will move on to 5.4 with the Chancellor's report from Dr. Nassi.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And so first and foremost, I want to extend my congratulations to the entire board, the 2025 Pima Community College Board of Governors, including our newly appointed chair and vice chair. Congratulations, and it's exciting, right? Your leadership really marks a new chapter for our institution. We're excited to work collaboratively towards achieving even greater success than we've had. And to all of you, I just want to express my gratitude, as you noted, Greg, your volunteers, also elected representatives of this remarkable community. You carry the weight and responsibility and the trust of those you serve. And as you noted, your insight, professional expertise, dedication really bring immeasurable value to Pima Community College. So thank you all so much for that. And Teresa, thank you so much for your service as the chair. and 615 events. I guess I'd have to do the first 100 like 4 times to get to the 615. So thank you. And to all of our students, I know they've left. It's appropriate. They've got other stuff to do, and their families. I always want to say thank you for choosing Pima Community College as the launching pad. Great to hear. DeAndre going off to Berkeley, and to meet those dreams, and that's what our work's all about, right? That's a great example of what we're always trying to do. For him, transfer to a great institution and succeed. So students, you're at the heart of everything you do, and please know that you have not only a home here, but an entire community committed to your success. We're here to support you and empower you every step of your educational journey. And always, I think, as I sit in these seats for these meetings, I want to take a moment and recognize and celebrate the collective efforts of the Pima Community College family, our faculty, certainly our staff. Thank you for your tireless work in advancing teaching and learning, supporting our students and our faculty, our administrators. Thank you for your leadership in guiding our programs and initiative. It takes all of us working together. Coming back into the new year, as I reflect on my first semester at Pima Community College, of course, filled with gratitude, really inspired by the work that we do here at the college. As noted in the early presentation, I've really intentionally focused in the first 6 months, if you will, on listening and learning, engaging with our students and faculty, our community, importantly. We are the community's college. And over the holiday break, it was a good time for me to reflect and provide me with a little bit, better understanding of where we are and then where we need to go. Building on that foundation, I think it's appropriate, even prior to the launching of the first 100-day report, to share some of my priorities, certainly not a complete list, Mr. Chair, but these are some of the priorities that I think align to the mission and that will propel the institution forward for even greater impact. Number one, I'm very much, and Mr. Burdick referenced this, as someone who likes to keep score. I think everything we should do should be measured. And so I've charged the team to develop a scoreboard, if you will, of key performance indicators for the institution that we could point to collectively. Of course, we have lots of data that we track across the college, but I'd like a high level, if you will, scoreboard that really looks at things like graduation rates, of course, enrollment, those fundamental pieces, so we can see if we're moving the ball over time, if you will. Strengthening high school engagement and recruitment. One thing I heard over and over again from a variety of constituencies, students, families, even within faculty staff, is to really enhance our outreach efforts to create stronger pathways for high school students to join here and succeed at Pima. Invest in our transfer mission. We had a great example today. DeAndre's transferring to Berkeley. Of course, many of our students transferred to the University of Arizona, and that's something that I want to dedicate resources to improve our transfer outcome. And not only successful transfer from Pima to wherever it is they want to study, but that they're successful there. How many of our students are earning bachelor's degree once they leave here and get to that institution? So there's success at that institution. Streamlining our application and onboarding processes. We're getting a new application that we're excited about, and so we really want to simplify and improve our processes. We want to make it easy for people to enroll and register, be admitted at the college, and that includes all things, financial aid, support, and really maximize the student experience at Pima Community College. Scheduling, optimizing scheduling opportunities for our students, implement really strategic scheduling practices to increase our program options for students, including on-campus and acceleration. We need to give students an opportunity to finish their program of study quickly so they can transfer or jump into a job or whatever it is that they want to do. But we want to assist them in moving through the process quickly. Enhancing our on-site, on-campus presence. Our faculty are great. They're back on our campuses and serving students, our student services team, and we want to make sure that all of our students are supported with fully functioning and staffed campuses. So things like financial aid, the registrar's office, all of those support functions, we want to make sure are on campuses and available to students who need those services. We talked a little bit about this evening about the centers of excellence. It's a real point of pride. And so, it's a national best practice, and we want to continue to build upon the Pima Community College Center of Excellence model by expanding opportunities, forging stronger industry partnership, and proactively addressing the evolving needs of our communities and business, right? It's not a standstill. So how are we moving forward? How are we integrating technology into things like the health professions? How are we combining artificial intelligence with cybersecurity? We had a great tour there this afternoon. So continuing to build on our college centers of excellence and seeing if there are opportunities for more centers of excellence. Expanding baccalaureate programs. Last year, our board approved moving forward with our first baccalaureate program in education. I think we can continue to advance our offerings to meet the evolving needs of our students in the workforce through baccalaureate degrees. And this was one that kept coming up over and over again with a lot of different people. Of course, we're in Tucson, Arizona proudly, but really focus, expand our outreach initiatives to better serve our Mexican American, our Latino, Latina, and indigenous communities. And this college has earned the Seal of Excelencia, so we're doing some great work in this space, but we could do even more in terms of being national leaders, and it's all about student outcomes. So when we look at our indigenous communities, we look at our Latino communities, we want to make sure that they are really excelling and succeeding. And so we want to dedicate some time in that area to ensure those student outcomes. And that will require some level of reorganization, right? And when I think about reorganization, the purpose is towards those outcomes, but synergy, right? Areas across this great college working together, academic affairs, workforce education, external relations, student experience. So moving things around to ensure that we're improving our outcomes and seeing us move the ball, if you will, on those scoreboards. So some of these priorities, this is not complete. They're ambitious. Some are short-term, some are long-term. But I think they're essential to ensuring we remain a leader in education and a pillar of this community. And this is important, as we go forward, I am committed to a shared governance process. So the devil's in the details. How do we do these things? And so one of the things I'll be doing this spring is really engaging with faculty, staff, and of course our leadership in shaping that process. What does it look like to do these things and change? So that'll be a big part of that. I also I have to highlight for the board some exceptional work that's happening even here in, I guess, early to mid-January in 2025 at Pima Community College. We are hosting currently the National Coalition of Certification Centers, another acronym, NC3. And this is a partnership that connects educational institutions with industry leaders to create job-ready professionals. So they're here looking at our centers of excellence as models for certifications for jobs. And these are people from all over the country, and we're a site for NC3, and we'll continue to build upon that commitment to workforce development and student success. Also, I have to mention in late December, we cut the ribbon on our Southern Arizona Technology and Entrepreneurship Center, another acronym, SATEC. It was great. It's a state-of-the-art business incubator space. I know some of you were able to join us for the ribbon cutting, but it really equips, right, local innovation and startups with resources, mentorship, and cutting-edge facilities to foster growth in IT, applied technology, and manufacturing. I have an idea for an app, Ian. I'll be in SATEC. And you know, the mission moment, I have to speak to that, right? The athletics, it's been a great pleasure of mine to come to a college with such great athletics. We actually were looking at their grade point average. Our student athletes are not only doing very well on the court, the field, on the track, but also succeeding in the classroom. And that's what college athletics is all about. And so it's great to see our athletic teams, the coaches really exemplify our values in demonstrating excellence on and off the field, and what great ambassadors for our institution and our community. So In closing, Mr. Chair, I just want to emphasize that our shared vision for Pima is grounded in outcomes, right? Outcomes that reflect our dedication to students succeeding, community engagement, and institutional excellence. And I heard someone use this, I can't say it's mine, but of course we have the Centers of Excellence, COE, but I like the idea of a culture of excellence at Pima Community College. So thank you again, Board of Governors, for your leadership, to our students, faculty, staff, our community for coming out this evening. Thank you for your trust and partnership, and together we'll continue to build a brighter future for Pima Community College in Southern Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Questions or comments for Dr. Nassi? No? Thank you so much for your leadership. I appreciate it. Look forward to serving with you in this new capacity too. All right. So we will, section 6 is just information items, so those are all in your board packets for you to review, and for anybody in the public that wants to read them, you can access them on the website as well. Section 7 is the consent agenda. Does anyone want to pull anything from the consent agenda? Or
I would like to pull 7.12 for purposes of discussion.
okay, we can move 7.12 into the action items. Is there a motion on the remaining items in the consent agenda?
I move that we accept the consent agenda with the removal of 7.12.
I'll second.
Sorry.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I don't think there's any discussion on the consent agenda.
All right, then we'll call, all those in favor, say aye.
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 I don't think there was any opposed, so I think that passes unanimously. We will move on to, well, why don't we just do 7.12 then? And then we'll move on to 8.1 in the action items. So that's the faculty emeritus designation for Elena Grienda. I probably said that wrong, but I apologize to you, Elena. Teresa Real and Nan Schmidt. Did you have a question or?
I did not. I just wanted to pull it off consent. So I understand that if the motion is approved, which I will be voting in favor of it, of course. I just wanted to say the names and say a little bit about it. I understand if it's approved, they'll be able to come here and be recognized. But I really like what was in our materials here. Ms. Grajeda taught Spanish at Pima Community College for 20 years. Her leadership in the World Language and Reading Department led to many significant accomplishments during this time. There's a list of her accomplishments. I will not be pedantic and read them all out loud, but they're lovely. I don't think they're on the agenda, but they are online. Teresa Real is the second here. A retired PCC math faculty, is an exceptional educator and leader with over 22 years of dedicated service to Pima Community College. Her contributions have profoundly impacted her discipline, colleagues, and the broader PCC community, making her an ideal candidate for faculty emeritus status. And last but not least would be Nan Schmidt. Nan was an outstanding biology instructor, mentor, leader, problem solver, and mediator. And once again, a big, long list of accomplishments. So I would like to move to approve this item.
Second.
All right.
Wrong button. Point of interest. I'm going to vote on this, but I'm only voting for the other two people because it seems a little weird voting for me. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously as well, with Teresa not voting for herself, but the other two. And thank you for your long service to the college, Teresa. We all appreciate it. All right, moving on to action item 8.1, the request to modify Chancellor Goal 1C. Dr. Nassi, do you want to just talk about this one briefly?
It's just in terms of the timing of the HLC report. The goal currently reads now that we'd have it done by December. We don't yet have the report back. And so I'm asking the board to just move the date until we receive the report back so we can fulfill this goal.
All right, any motion on 8.1?
Yes, I would move that we modify Chancellor Article 1C regarding the date, and I think that the words in there, it gives you a certain time period after the report is received, so I think that sounds reasonable. Thanks for bringing that to our attention, too.
Second.
All right, any discussion? No, not hearing any. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All right, passes unanimously as well. So finally on the agenda, is there any requests for future agenda items?
I have a request, Chair. I would like to see an agenda item where we discuss the calendar of meetings for the next year. I don't have a specific ask, but I would like to maybe just have a discussion as it is, I guess, the board class of 2025.
Yeah, absolutely. We can add that to a future agenda and make sure everybody's available for all the times that the previous board committed you all to. So yes, absolutely. Any other requests for future agenda items?
I just want to mention that the board bylaws need to be reviewed every 3 years, and this is the 3rd year. So let's put that on the agenda sooner than later so we don't have to do all of the work the last couple of months of the year. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Any other requests for future agenda items? No, not hearing any. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.